On this special film-focused edition of Independent Sources, The Great Fallacy, exploring the origins of Puerto Rico's current economic crisis, and The 66%, why the fashion industry is ignoring the overwhelming majority of women in the country and how that could be costing them millions. The details and more coming up. Welcome to Independent Sources, bringing you news from New York's ethnic and immigrant communities. I'm Abby Ashola. This week, we'll take a special look at 3 small documentary films that are in various stages of production. The first is a film by Paco Vasquez called La Gran Fallacy. It explores the economic and political crisis in Puerto Rico. It was first produced in 2013, but is now experiencing a resurgence as the U.S. Commonwealth continues to deal with an economic crisis that's already left the country with crushing debt and unable to pay its civil service. Zyvis LeBron spoke with the film's director, Paco Vasquez.
Paco Vasquez, thank you for being in studio today.
Thank you.
All right. Before we start our conversation, I wanted us to have a look at your film, La Gran Fallacy.
Bueno, pues Puerto Rico está viviendo la convulsión de 114 años del coloniaje más inmundo y más asqueroso que ha tenido ningún país en el mundo, en donde se ha pretendido transculturar al puertorriqueño, donde se ha pretendido educar a una serie de seres humanos como si fueran animales de ordeño.
Puerto Rico está ocurriendo un proceso que los sociólogos tienden a llamar un proceso de descomposición social.
Otra cosa también que también nos está afectando es la mano de obra. O sea, aquí los gobiernos se han dedicado a darle todo bien fácil a la gente y ya la gente no quiere trabajar. O sea, es mejor negocio para ellos quedarse en la casa y no trabajar.
En mi caso personal, a mí me hizo más que un bien, porque literalmente cuando a mí me tocaron estas ayudas, fue en un momento en que si no me llega a pasar esto, yo me hubiera quedado literalmente en la calle.
Si el mantengo trae criminalidad, pues mira, la cultura del mantengo es una cultura que al gobierno le hace falta.
La criminalidad es producto de la marginación. Cuando un pueblo, cuando el gobierno de un pueblo, cuando un Estado margina a su gente, el camino más fácil es la criminalidad.
Y nos han creado un estado de dependencia para que no podamos valernos por nosotros mismos, que tengamos que depender de ellos. Y no hay peor esclavitud que la dependencia.
Wow, Paco, it seems like this film is very heavy and it's a little dark, right? I mean,
well, you know, the situation, not only in Puerto Rico, but worldwide is not bright. So I guess what I can say about this film is we also present the bad things, but at the same time we present solutions and how can we make that change happen, you know? It's good to criticize, but without giving ideas to change things, it's just criticizing.
We'll come back to this whole notion of suggestions as to change, but I just want to talk a little bit more about the film. So this film is actually a few years old. You shot this, you released this in 2013, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, but now it seems that the theme is very prescient, because right now of what's going on with Puerto Rico and the debt crisis in there, has what's going on now kind of created more interest in this film?
Yes, it's funny because when I released it, it didn't have that much acceptance as what's going on right now. Right now, they are calling me to make presentations everywhere. They are wanted to have it even in different channels, and people are wanted to see more. And we're preparing to have the sequel because we want to release it before the elections.
I see. So how did this happen to Puerto Rico? You know, we see people talking about a welfare state. How did Puerto Rico become this?
In my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of people, this is not an accident. This is all part of, I cannot say like a social experiment to create a chaos in order to create more poverty and to create more crime, and that way they could keep the status quo as it is right now. You know, the what they call a Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, which is I like to call it a political bisexualism, without insulting anyone, but there's a lot of Puerto Ricans that are afraid to be independent, and there's a lot of Puerto Ricans that wanted the Puerto Rico to become a state. So there's that division right there. But the Commonwealth is like in the middle of these two.
Right. Right. And so you're saying that status is what's contributing to all of this?
Yeah, because they are making a lot of money out of it. You
right.
know, so,
and when you say they, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about corporations. You know, there's like the cabotage law, to give you an example. The cabotage law is part of the Jones Act, that it was signed in the 1920s. And the reason for that is that it obligates the Puerto Rican government only to use ships that have the American flag ships that are manufactured with in America and with an American crew. We cannot make any deals with anybody, you know. Just to give you an example, if we were able to do business with, say, Venezuela or Costa Rica, which is very close to Puerto Rico, like 800 miles away, the trip, it would be from Costa Rica to the south of Puerto Rico. That's it.
Right.
But because we have the Jones Act, this ship has to go all the way to the United States, so they disembark all the goods. The corporation, the cargo ship of the United States paid the ship from South America, from
hypothetically, yeah.
Hypothetically. They load everything into an American ship, and they send it to San Juan.
Wow, that's convoluted.
So that makes everything that is not local. You have to pay basically the double
right.
for it.
Right.
You know, so,
and that's putting a lot of pressure on an already strained economy.
On top of that, you know, because of the debt, they are taxing. Right now, Puerto Rico is the more expensive tax o consumo. We call it in Spanish IVU or IVA, which is a
value-added tax, right?
Yeah. So if you buy, let's say this, they tax you like 11 or 12%.
Right, which is compared to the 8% that 8.5% usually spend. You
exactly.
pay here, it's a lot more. Yeah.
So now with the Fiscal Control Board, they wanna boost it up to 16%.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's really putting the strain on the backs of the consumers, right?
Exactly. Funny thing is that they want to put a fiscal control board that it was imposed by the Congress of the United States, of course, through the lobbies of the bondholders. The funny thing is, which I find funny, and I always ask this question when I interview someone, why do we have like a coup d'etat? Basically, they're gonna derock the elected government, and the U.S. Congress is going to put a board that is going to run Puerto Rico, which are not elected by the people of Puerto Rico, and they only have to respond to the bondholders.
Right.
So they can do whatever they want. They don't have to. They're not going to. That's basically a dictatorship within the democracy of the United States.
Is this going to be, I know that you want to do a sequel to this film, is that issue going to be part of the sequel that you're going to be doing?
Of course. That is happening because there's a law called the Foreign Care Act, which gave us, Puerto Rican, a U.S. citizen back in 1917, but as a second-class citizens.
Right.
We cannot vote for the president, and the U.S. Constitution does not apply in Puerto Rico. That's why they are able to do what they want to do. So that's the reason why we are in the situation that we have right now.
Paco, real pleasure meeting you, and good luck with the film.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.
You can view the full documentary on YouTube. In this next segment, I spoke to producer Natalie Abruzzo about her film that's currently in production. The film is called The 66%, and it examines how the 66% of women who are classified as overweight are virtually being ignored by the fashion industry. Abruzzo talked to me about the project and how the issue affects countless women across the country. Welcome, Natalie.
Thank you for having me, Abby.
So tell us about your film, The 66%.
Well, it's a documentary short about the overwhelming majority of women in America who are considered overweight, which in the fashion industry is considered to be plus size or size 14 and above. And that's 66% of the American women. And so the depiction in the short is to show the overwhelming majority of women in America are plus size, yet the fashion industry and women's wear treat them as the minority.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you also explore Full Figured Fashion Week, correct?
Yes, Full Figured Fashion Week is another character in the film to accentuate the idea of women that are the majority, that are the size plus size, size 14 and above, and it happens annually. And I use the Full Figured Fashion Week as the way to show just how many women are engaged in fashion and want to wear clothes that are like anybody else, whether they're trendy or classic lines and that sort of thing. But Full Figured Fashion Week really brings it all together to have, I mean, people come from all over the place, all over the world actually, to attend.
Wow. Well, we have a clip. So let's take a look.
Okay.
It's a huge money-making industry. There's no reason to stop at a size 10 or a size 8 in clothing when the majority are at least a size 14. Are we willing to put larger sizes on the runway in hopes of selling clothes to consumers with similar bodies in the audience? Because that's what it's about. I don't know why anybody else does Fashion Week, but that's what I do Fashion Week for.
Wow. So that was Gwen DeVoe, the creator of Full Figured Fashion Week.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I want to touch on something she said. She says it's a huge money-making industry. So why aren't more designers making clothes for plus-size women?
Well, if we had the answer to that, we could, rule the world, basically. The easiest way to say is I don't know, Abby. I don't know why more designers are not designing for the fuller figured woman. So the fashion industry makes over $100 billion. The plus size portion of that is a mere fraction. However, it's still billions of dollars. In 2014, it was 17.5 billion. I believe in 2015, it rose to 20 billion. And those are not numbers to, cough at, like just scoff at or what have you. Those are big numbers. And I don't know why more people aren't doing it. It's like Gwen DeVoe said, it's a huge money-making industry. Yeah, it really is.
I've heard some people say that the fashion industry is very aspirational. So there's this thing about not designing for full-figured women because it may come off as not cool. Do you think that has anything to do with it?
There are definitely some designers that over time have come out and said, even Karl Lagerfeld, for instance, has said, nobody aspires to that size. I'm not going to make clothing for that size. And he's just one of many. I mean, we know that New York Fashion Week really focuses on showing clothing that are what they call the straight sizes, which is 0 to about 6, sometimes 8. I'm not sure why they're not designing for the fuller figured women or what they really think of. I have read in places where designers like Prada, for instance, have used the term, cool or not cool, which is unfortunate because it shouldn't be about how you're perceived. More should be, it's a business. Don't you want to make money? And if so, why aren't you catering to the majority of the women that exist in America?
Mm-hmm. So how has Full Figured Fashion Week benefited the market, benefited the market for full-figured women?
That's a really good question. Full Figure Fashion Week has been around for 8 years. It's now going into its 7th year. And there have been a lot of designers that have come from there. For instance, Ashley Nell Tipton, she was the season 14 winner on Project Runway, and she specifically was designing for plus sizes while she was on Project Runway. But she was also, before she got to Project Runway, she showed for the very first time anywhere at Full Figured Fashion Week. So it is this platform for rising designers, up-and-coming designers, plus models. They have an actual showcase where it's nothing but them walking down the runway, showing off the clothing in sizes that the women in the audience, that are the consumers, can actually relate to.
Nice. And you featured some pretty prominent women in the film. Can you talk a bit about the people that are appearing in this film?
Sure. Well, Gwen DeVoe, she is the heart and soul of Full Figured Fashion Week, and she really is a pioneer in the plus industry. She actually was doing plus modeling herself like a decade ago or so ago, and she parlayed that into being the premier platform with Full Figure Fashion Week, the premier platform for plus size clothing and distribution and that sort of thing. But also Sharon Quinn, who is her moniker, her name is the original runway diva, and she is a former plus model herself, and she had a lot of very prominent ad campaigns, and she really teaches the women how to do the walk because she knows what she's doing, and she's very well known. Another prominent woman is Alexandra Bose. She was the legs for Just My Size in the pantyhose, which I find that to be really cool because you never think about who's actually modeling them on the box or on the front of the package. And it was Alexandra, and she's really a voice for body positivity and women being empowered about themselves and about fashion. And Christina Mendez, she is she's almost like a super plus model, they call her. She works all the time, from television to print, you name it, she's working all the time. Yeah, some really wonderful women that came through and talked to me about what it's like to be a plus size woman living in a skinny world, basically.
Yeah. So how do you feel about women like Ashley Graham, who are, you know, movers and shakers in this area of fashion?
I think they're wonderful. I think we need them everywhere. We need more and more and more and more, because this is just a tiny conversation, a tiny fraction of the conversation. Ashley Graham is a model, so she has a different aesthetic than, you know, let's say myself or, you know, just a regular Joe, because she's tall and she, you know, takes care of herself as models usually do, for their skin, for their, you know, their shape and that sort of thing. And she has the, you know, the look, the cheekbones, the facial structure and that sort of thing that they look for in models. But she's an advocate for the fuller figured woman, and she's really out there in the mainstream, and we need more of that. We have a few, we have actresses, we have everybody from Oprah to Melissa McCarthy, right? So we do have a lot of people out there. We have Adele, we have Queen Latifah, you know, we have these figures that are out there, but it's still such a minority of them. So I think Ashley Graham is wonderful, and I'd like to see more of her out there doing more things.
Yeah, I feel like almost every day there's a body positivity movement, photo series, or something that's coming out. How do you feel about that? Is that going to help the market, or?
Oh, sure, absolutely. That can only drive it more, because more women, especially the millennials, they have really stepped up to say, you know what, I exist. I want to wear beautiful clothing. I want to be on trend with my friends. I want to have a blog, a fashion blog. I want to show everybody what I'm wearing. In fact, the bloggers are really what are driving the plus fashion industry. They're the ones that are wearing the outfits that, you know, are your everyday girl, but they're showing off how fierce they are, and they are driving the consumers to go buy the clothes that they're wearing.
Natalie, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. We'll take a quick break right now. When we come back, a new film highlights the importance of Black women in the medical field. Thanks for staying tuned. Finally from us, the story of a director who is changing the face of medicine with her new film. The documentary highlights the stories of Black women in medicine, the rich history, and the struggles they face. The film's director and producer, Crystal Emery, joined me via Skype. Crystal Emery, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Abby.
So we're going to start by watching a clip of your trailer. So we'll go into that right now.
My mom was doing my hair, we were watching TV, and I don't remember what was on TV, but somehow the subject came up of, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be a doctor. And she said, she's like, you want to be a doctor? You're like, you're so little. How do you know you want to be a doctor? And I said, because I want to help people. And, it's kind of odd what 3-year-old knows they want to be a doctor, but I would consider it a higher calling because it's something that I've always been passionate about, and I just went after it.
I realized when I was about 4 years old that I wanted to be a doctor, and it was something that I pretty much knew I could do. It wasn't anything that I thought was unattainable.
I said I wanted to be a doctor, I just said it, and they supported it. And I started high school, and I kept on saying it, and I kept on doing programs, and it just, it fell into place.
I had been sewing since I can remember. My mother was a seamstress, and she taught me to sew very well. So I knew I could stitch up a body better than some man who learned it last week. And I decided I would be a surgeon.
I can't think of anything else I would like. So by 12, I decided I wanted to become a doctor.
I grew up in the era where you could either be a doctor, a lawyer, or anything else. And my father was a physician, so doctor was always high on the list. And cardiac surgery is really the most fun that you can have legally in the United States.
I think I knew when I was a sophomore in college. I had never seen a doctor before I went to college. And you can't be what you can't see.
So, Crystal, why did you decide to make this film?
Abby, it's not like I decided. I think the universe chose me. I was quite busy trying to get Will Smith's attention.
Wow.
And I was asked to interview several doctors on behalf of Yale Medical School during their bicentennial. And I met Dr. Doris Weathers, and I was just amazed by her story. And one thing led to another, and so it was really the universe saying, this is what we want you to do.
So how difficult or easy was it to source the women that appear in the film?
It was quite difficult because, A, when I would reach out to them, they would say, well, who are you? And why do you want to do a story about me? Because nobody had approached them. And so they were a little hesitant, but as they checked my credentials and listened to what I wanted to do with their story, they became very enthused. And some of them are now my best friends.
So I want to back up. You said you were trying to get Will Smith's attention. Why?
I like the work that he produces. I'm not talking about Will Smith, the actor, but when you look at the films that his production company produces, whether it's The Secret Life of Bees or Hancock, there are always these very subtle underlines about racism. And whether it's reverse racism, Sam Jackson and Kerry Washington, the film that they did, where you see Black people, Sam's character being very racist. Or if you look at in The Secret Life of Bees, that racism was right there affecting each character. And so as a producer, I like the work that they do.
So you're very passionate about race issues?
No, I'm passionate about equality.
I hear you.
And as much as we like to think, since President Obama has done 2 terms, that America has dealt with the issue of race, I think it's been quite the opposite, that it has been uprooted and more exposed. And so, as a Black person living in America, race is an everyday experience. But that's not all that I do. I mean, I'm a writer. I'm also a caterer. I'm working on a novel called Without a Trace, and it's a love story. So I'm passionate about everything I do and the opportunity to be able to create.
So why do you think we're not hearing about these women that appear in your film more often? They seem very, very dynamic.
The women in this film are not just dynamic, they've contributed to the arts of healing. And I think that women are still not valued, whether you're Black or white, or Asian or Hispanic. I think particularly when it comes to Black women, that the media has created or reinforced so many stereotypes that we don't see ourselves as these professionals. And so when you don't demand of media to project you in a positive way, they overlook. I mean, Velma Scantlebury, Dr. Velma Scantlebury, is the first Black woman organ transplant surgeon. There are only 2 of them. Now, there are not a whole lot of organ transplant women surgeons in general, because it's a really hard discipline. But there are only 2 Black, and they're busy hidden in the back of an operating room. They're not out there singing their song. And so it takes us as creative entities, filmmakers, storytellers, to tell their story.
One of the women that appears in your film, she talks about the historical aspects of Black women as healers. Is that something that you talk a lot about in the film, or you explore a little bit more?
Well, I think that when you look at women, you know, what is our role? We are the backbone of our families and societies. And when you look at a Black woman's experience in America, you know, we were the healers. You know, we are the people that took care of the master's family and his children. And yet, you know, there's a poem that says, "What hurts you murders me, yet we share a death by the same hand of tyranny." That, you know, women bonded together, and it is only in the 21st century that we see this great divide even more so. But women are the healers of the world.
There's a lot of talk about, you know, STEM and that exploring that with young girls. Can this film fall into encouraging young girls to want to pursue those fields?
What we are doing is encouraging all children, male, female, Black, Hispanic, white, whoever encounters this. You know, our goal is we have joined with other allies in helping to diversify the medical industry. And our goal is to take the 4%, our 4.5% of African Americans, and increase that to 7% by 2030.
Thank you so much, Crystal Emery, for appearing on the show today.
Thank you so much, Abby. Namaskar.
Same to you. Black Women in Medicine will premiere on public television this fall. To learn more, you can visit the website changingthefaceofmedicine.org. That's our show this week. Thanks for staying tuned. Till next time, be independent-minded.